Hi, welcome back to Life as Mrs. C. If you're new, welcome. Hope you enjoy this episode. If you're coming back, hope you enjoy it as well.
And don't forget to subscribe if you're watching us for the first time or you've been watching us and haven't yet subscribed. We are waiting for you to join the family.
Yes.
And please share and keep sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to those who've already been sharing. We really appreciate you guys. But continue. The journey is ongoing.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this episode, we've shared a little bit about our breakup story. Then we talked about what courtship, dating and engagement is from our point of view. Now we want to take it back. So we're talking about what are the things that we would have wanted to know, plus what are the things that we also asked before we got into courtship. I'm hoping that whoever watches this video can consider some of these things if it's something that they haven't considered already. And would also like to hear from you on some of the things that you want to know before you enter into a courtship with somebody.
Yeah, and to get that started, we're first going to say get your value systems in check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, value systems are just basically what makes up you. Okay. Things that are important to you.
Yeah.
You know, there are people, like, for instance, in their value system, they would say, I wouldn't, drink water before having a meal.
Okay.
Like, that's important to them.
Yeah.
So they'll say, no, I won't drink water now. And obviously I've used a very light example, but really values are deep. If somebody spent 2-3 hours with you, they should be able to just tell even part of one of your values just by spending some time with you. So we would say that before you come up with these questions, you need to sit and just have a moment with yourself and sort out what your value system is.
Absolutely. And one way of doing that is it's also knowing yourself. You need to know who you are, because sometimes other people can try and define you. A relationship can try and define who you are, but if you already know who you are, then you know what your value system is, then that helps to set you up for a good run. So get to know who you are. Who are you as an individual? Who are you in Christ? And with all of that, then you can now go and offer yourself to somebody else.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And you've mentioned like who you are in Christ, identifying yourself. Like for instance, if you are a Christian, already the fact that you are a Christian means that there are certain parts of a value system that encompasses the fact that you're a Christian, and that will take us into our first point, which is faith.
The first point, faith. Absolutely. You need to know, are they a Christian? Question mark. Yes. You continue. Now, what does that mean to that person? It's not just that they're a Christian and that's it. I think this one, you really need to dig deep into this one. And it's not something that you may get to know on the first time that you meet somebody, depending on how you meet them, because there's so many different circumstances in which we meet people. So, are they a Christian? What do they understand about being a Christian, and how do they practice it? And what can you see from your observation in what they're saying from how they practice their faith? Because when you're a Christian, that is first of all who you are. That is who you are. So if that is who you are, you need to understand what the other person is about, because this is going to be your foundation for your journey going forward into marriage. So you need to spend some time to really, really understand what that person is saying about their Christianity and what their beliefs are on the fundamental parts of being a Christian.
And I think one of the things that is helpful is also like, what assembly are they going to? I feel like what assemblies people go to speaks, I mean, it doesn't give the big picture, because they, we go to assemblies and there are things where we are like, this I don't really agree with, but there are some fundamentals that assemblies have, and you're like, that is me. So basically, like, what assembly somebody goes to can also sort of tell you like, okay, so these are the things that they believe in. Now, are you ready? Because there are certain times where people start off as, he's a Christian, I'm a Christian. and then when things advance, then the question comes, which church are we going to go to?
Yes.
And for me, I feel like before you even reach there, that's the first question you're have
thinking.
to deal with before you even start saying they are a Christian. It's one thing they're a Christian, but then are you convicted by the same doctrinal beliefs?
Yeah.
So yeah.
That one is that one is deep. All right.
Yeah. So
Number
that
2, dreams and aspirations.
Yes.
I love this one because I think this one for me was, I think, at the top. I was like, I want to know, because these are my plans. This is what I believe the Lord has called me to do. These are my dreams and aspirations. And although over time these things can change, and when you get into marriage, you realize that it's okay. Our dreams and aspiration may change, and we're moving in different direction. It's still good to know from the beginning what those dreams are. First of all, for a man, like you as a woman, you want to know, what are you following? This man is leading your home, so what are you going to be helping him with? What if he wants to lead the church? He wants to be a pastor, he wants to be an elder, so can you see yourself supporting him in that? And then you're like, okay, I can, or no, you know what, I don't know if I
those
can.
are roles that really come up with some challenges. Being an elder's wife, I don't think it's a small job.
No, I don't think so.
Being a pastor's wife, it's not a small job.
And it sounds cute at the beginning. You're like, he's a godly man. Oh my goodness.
Not until you realize the responsibilities it comes with.
It's a lot. I think there's a lot in dreams and aspiration in terms of like where they see themselves in the future. Maybe that person wants to travel the world. This one wants to stay in one place. You've got to know what, and then you see it. Do they align? And sometimes you see how, for example, my husband and I's dreams and aspiration, it just aligned so beautifully when we were talking about it. You could see how mine will bounce off his so well, and together you're like, yo, this is like powerful. I thought my dreams were big. Now put his dreams together with mine. You see why the Lord is like, yes, these two people can work. So you're like, so you really want to know.
No, it's so true, and I think it also shows direction. Because if you're a human being with no aspirations, no dreams,
you can.
Then that just means you just be moving all over the place.
Left, right, and center.
In life, you need direction. What do they like, or what don't they like? Their likes and dislikes.
Interests.
Like finding out what their interests are. Does he like football? Does she like football? There are actually women who love football.
Definitely.
And then there are some men who love cooking. Like that.
Thank you, Abby.
They're there. Oh yes, Tommy is the cook.
He can cook up a good meal. Thank you, baby.
There are men who love to cook, and then you have people like my husband who just love to have a good intellectual conversation. Lydia, do you read?
When was the last time you opened the book?
I know. What was the last time? I just listened to current affairs, people. So but it's good, and I think for me, I did pick up on that even before asking. Most of the conversations, like, Shima will be so intrigued. Oh, you've studied psychology, so what about this in psychology? What about that?
And then I was like going back to my dissertation.
I know, you have to read.
No, it's
you
true.
Have to keep,
what are their interests and what don't they like? Because you need to know whether it also matches up with yours. Because there's room to grow and learn, and learn what they like if you don't like it. But there's some things. Maybe you find that there's something you hate.
Like
your
this,
skin is just like no. And that's the thing that person absolutely loves. So the question is, can you live with that? So it's not like no. It's it's a red flag. You can't go there. The true question with these things are, can I live with this for the rest of my life?
That's true.
And
because
that's why you're trying to find out some of these things.
No, that's true, because every there is no perfect human being. If you're going to sit and wait for that perfect
Mr.
human
Perfect,
being,
Mrs.
Perfect, Mr. Perfect, I want the gray hair. That Mr. Perfect, that person I don't think exists.
No.
So we just have to make do. Obviously, when we say make do, it doesn't mean compromise on your value system. No.
Set the foundation.
And then
the other things you can work on.
Right. Kids.
Children. And there's a lot with this, So it comes in stages as you start to have this conversation. First, do you have kids? Or you know what? There was the other one where, do you have you may not acknowledge these kids, but does somebody say that you are the father or the mother? But the mother one is a bit
their
difficult.
name appears
your name on the birth certificate. So you want to know. So you find that out a bit later. You can ask it, but that's important. Do you have children? Do you want children? And not just do you want children, what is your understanding of what the purpose for children is? And as a Christian, what is your understanding of what children are and what are they for?
No, that's real deep. That's
you
real
need to
deep.
keep going. And then the next one, over conversations. If we couldn't have kids, what are your thoughts on that? And these days, these are quite common conversations.
Yes, they are very common, but I think because they are not being talked about from the beginning, so they are really hard. I'm not saying that just because you talked about it in the beginning it won't be hard, but it wouldn't be as hard because you
already have a little bit of an idea what your other person
and sometimes if you haven't gone through a situation, it's actually okay to just say, you know what, Monday, I don't know how I'll react. And I think that's a very honest answer. Some people want to be spiritual and just go and be lying. No.
Saying,
but if you're being spiritual about it and you're honest, that's fine.
That's okay.
But if you're trying to be spiritual to mask up something, it's just okay to say, you know what, like, I received questions like, what would you do if your husband cheated on you? It's a very difficult question to answer, and my simple answer is, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
It's true. It's true, and I think that's important to be able to say I don't know, and I'll figure it out when the time comes.
Exactly. And but the thing is that you know that it's something that happens. So
it's something to consider. And I think with children, I just wanted to add, I think these days we can talk about these things, like say, what are your thoughts on things like IVF? What are your thoughts on things like adoption? You go further. It's just to gauge, to understand, because if that was to present to you, you've already thought about, you already know what your friends' thoughts are on IVF, because one person is like, IVF, that's no brainer. The other one is like, no, adoption. And then now you're opening up a potential argument.
Difficult,
because they are, and the thing is, it's okay to say I don't know, to be honest. Like you said, it's okay, but it's just these things that can come up in conversation in relation to kids.
And like you've mentioned it, with kids, one thing I've realized is that also people have different perceptions about children. There are others who are thinking it's a gift from God. Then there are others who think it's a ministry. Then there are others who think that it has to do with my will alignment. I need to have them at a certain point, whether I am ready or not. Just because my biological system clock is saying that I should. Okay. So they're very important.
There's a lot.
And I think we'll look at some of these topics in more detail in other segments. So probably we could move on to family. We've talked about kids, now we are talking about family. Trying to get to know, like, this person, what is their position in the family? Okay, what is their role? Not really position, but what is their role in the family? And when we talk about role, it's not just, like, there are some of us who I would say, like, if there's something happening in the family, you are there trying to make something work, and all that. And then there are some people whose roles in the family is to pay school fees. And this is for both male or female. These things are so exciting to look at from the outside, because you're like, this person is so responsible. They are so loving. But then when you marry them, you realize that the money that you're supposed to be using,
my money,
to
now
grow
going to
your
someone else,
is now going to someone else, and you'll be like,
you're like, but he always gives his money to his family. She's always giving to her family. But at first you thought this was attractive, so and you have this
conversation being attractive.
It now becomes a problem. So it's good to really understand their role in the family, so you can sort of gauge and have a little bit of an idea. Like we said, things change, but it's just good to understand that thing.
Yes, and sometimes even asking, like, like, how far have they gone in terms of education? Like, especially if you're marrying somebody who has siblings that are grown up, they're above 20. For me, I think even asking what are they doing for their lives is important, because for me, I think that the people that we're carrying in our lives sometimes can be a liability, I would say, you know, because if you're marrying somebody who, you know, is a breadwinner in the family, okay, it's so cute, it's so nice, because you feel like, you know what, I am with a woman, I am with a man. Not until you realize that they are coming with a lot of liabilities, because everyone is looking up to them. So then that poses a challenge, and a challenge that shouldn't make you run away, but a challenge that should make you face it head on.
Think about it.
Yeah.
And in relation to family also, how do they interact? Not just in terms of finances or anything like that, just what's their relationship like? And although this thing can be masked, it's still good to observation is key. It's key. How do they speak to their mother? How do they speak to their father? How do they show respect towards their, you know, because these kind of things will give you a little bit of idea of what their thoughts are on how a family should run, because someone may say something to you, but then they may also act differently. So it's really good to get the opportunity to also observe as well as ask these questions in relation to family. That's
so true.
So we'll leave family there, because there's a lot more again.
I think that brings us to our first set of 6.
We'll leave it there. We've spoken enough. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.
Yes, and we are looking forward to your comments. Please add and let us know what you think about the comments we've shared. So, the list is endless.
It is
really
endless.
It is endless. This is just some of the things.
So
all right. Thanks for watching.